Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As ladies and gentlemen, there are plenty of people that are looking like this baby due to this newfound crypto market volatility. The price goes up, people are happy. Price goes down, people are complaining and crying. If this is your emotional state, you're not gonna make it because it's only the beginning. That being said, guys, what you guys are now seeing on the screen is the little bit of life in the XRP chart right now. As XRP made its way up to 50 cents yesterday, up 25% on a given day. And that is no small feat, as XRP typically does absolutely nothing for a prolonged period of time until it does everything all at once. This is extremely important for all of you to know, and I can't stress that enough. In addition, guys, something I want all of you to pay extremely close attention to is the DXY. As I've told all of you, it's the number one most important chart we need to pay attention to as an indicator for whether or not the crypto market is going to be rising or falling in value. When the DXY rises, risk on assets like crypto fall. But when the DXY begins falling, like it's about to again right now, that's when we can begin seeing some positive price action for the crypto market. There's about to be a lot of market volatility in the next days, weeks, and months. And if my hypothesis is correct, all coins may be getting ready to give us a rally that we've been long anticipating. Something else I want all of you to know is that Stellar, XRP's little brother, was moving up quite a bit yesterday as well. For those of you that don't know, XRP and Stellar have a very strong price correlation. So when XRP tends to move, Stellar does as well. Stellar and XRP were the two cryptos, the two main bags that people were paying attention to in this community that did not reach their new all-time highs this past cycle. And because of that, I am cautiously optimistic that with a positive ruling by the judge in the coming days or weeks, we could see new all-time highs for one or both of them. We still have to wait and see. But man, what a time to be alive for the XRP community. Here we even have CoinDesk talking positively about XRP. And shout out to Waters Above Crypto, who just the other day correctly told every single one of us that the price for XRP needed to be watched thoroughly. And then like clockwork, we saw the price explode aggressively, with more yet to come. You know what's actually so frustrating is that people, now that the price is going down one day to the next, are now saying, "Hey, look at that. The price is going down. What are you going to say now?" It's a healthy retest of previous resistance before we go back for a moon mission. In my personal opinion, you don't want to play with fire when it comes to this XRP chart right now, especially with the fundamental news and analysis accompanied with the potential announcements that could be coming soon. Stay the course, my friends. It's almost our time. In addition to that, David Schwartz, seemingly in as cryptic of a way as possible, is over here talking about flipping a switch. It seems there's a light switch in my garage that does nothing. Hit it by accident yesterday. Wasn't sure what it did, so I switched it back an hour ago. Strange to have one that does nothing at all. When David Schwartz says things like this, he knows 100% what he's doing and how we in the XRP community will interpret this. Is he communicating to us in a cryptic language? Maybe, who knows? But what I do know is that I'm paying attention. It's not quite our moment yet, but I think it will be very soon. That being said, guys, today was Fed Day. and the Federal Reserve made a decision to raise interest rates by 25 basis points, stated that banks are sound, stated additional interest rates may be appropriate, and are highly attentive to inflation risks. And before I continue with the important part of this video, I'm going to play you a brief clip by Jay Powell discussing exactly what we need to be analyzing to see the message that they're putting out there for the retail investors.
About 40 years ago or more, we had rampant inflation in the U.S. We had a chairman, Dr. Volcker, who was chairman of the Fed, and he was maligned for a little while by people, but praised later. But he brought the leadership to the Fed and to the country that we had to squeeze inflation out at all costs, just about. And a lot of it was draconian. You have to do it. Is the leadership at the Fed under you and the Fed prepared to do what it takes to get inflation under control and protect price stability?
Well, let me say I knew Paul Volcker. I'm pretty sure I saw him testify in this room many years ago. I think he was one of the great public servants of the era, the greatest economic public servant of the era. And I hope history will record that the answer to your question is yes.
So you're prepared to do what it takes without any reservation to protect price stability?
Yes.
That would be a departure of what you've done. Thank you very much.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that so interesting? Jerome Powell saying he'll do anything it takes to combat inflation and maintain price stability, while at the same time, banks are collapsing and they're saying the Fed bank backstop has scope to inject as much as $2 trillion. Inflation is destroying all of our purchasing power. Interest rate hikes are destroying your credit and borrowing power. The rate hikes are going to eventually lead to a pivot, which will destroy your wealth and your retirement plan, as the stock market will collapse. But I think the worst part about all of this is that they're going to keep raising rates at this moment in time until they break something, because the way they're going to combat inflation is not by stopping the printing of money, because they cannot do that. They're going to combat inflation by having people fired so that people stop spending money. So then they have to lower prices. Oh, what a fucked up world this is. But that is their solution to the problem they created. Make no mistake about it. That's exactly what the plan is. Stay woke, my friends. It's a cold world. Now, guys, I have to pivot your attention to the breaking news of the day, as Coinbase received a Wells notice from the SEC focused on staking and asset listings, essentially stating that Coinbase is listing securities. Ladies and gentlemen, karma really is a bitch. Coinbase went public on the US stock market. The SEC allowed them to do so. And now, retroactively, they're trying to say they listed unregistered securities. This is unbelievable. The SEC is so annoying. But karma is setting in, as Coinbase, when they could have taken a stand against the SEC by standing with Ripple and not delisting XRP. They didn't. Now, XRP is about to have a decision made by the judge that's looking more and more favorable by the day, while the rest of the entire crypto market is about to get sued. And now to the title of the day, as I believe a settlement at this moment in time is 100% confirmed. John Deaton had an interview recently with Ray Fuentes from Link2, discussing what a potential ruling could be, and also why he believes if it does go to the Supreme Court, Ripple will absolutely annihilate the SEC. The current justices in place are anti-big government intervention. And John Deaton lays out the facts and previous decisions those judges had made, specifically, that could tie into this case. That's why I believe a settlement is likely after a ruling. That's why I'm so optimistic in our assets price appreciation. That's why I think that it's no coincidence that these bank runs, these bank collapses, this crypto uptrend, this price analysis, ISO going live, Fed now coming in July, and now talks by Christine Lagarde and other US senators about a CBDC is on the table. There are no coincidences in the world. This is the synchronistic rollout of the brand new financial system. And if you don't think XRP has some major role to play, you haven't been paying attention, and you're about to get left behind. The other day I posted a video saying it's your last chance to get XRP. And then the next day it went up 25%. Now, in these final moments, when the price is retesting previous resistance, you have an opportunity to get a solid entry, locked in and ready to go for the moon mission we're all gonna be on. This has been a wild roller coaster ride, a fantastic journey of the ages, and now everything's finally winding down. You better believe it's the most exciting time to be alive. And it's an honor to be on this journey with every single one of you. Now guys, to cap off this video for today, please watch this interview John Deaton had with Ray Fuentes as it breaks down why I believe a settlement is 100% likely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it's by the end of this week. And this is what I do. I go by what historically she's done. And if you look at previous cases of hers, there's been times where she's done the summary judgment ruling at the same time as the Daubert ruling. There was a case where she gave both rulings simultaneously. And that's why when the Daubert motion came down, I said the summary judgment could be tonight. Then there was another case where she did the Daubert rulings and 2 weeks went by and she gave the decision on summary judgment. And there was a case where she did the Daubert ruling and 60 days between. So although I'm guessing, I can tell you this, that I would be very surprised if it's not within the next 30 days. If late April comes and we're still waiting, I'll genuinely be surprised, and it would be inconsistent with the way she's handled cases in the past. When Ripple's summary judgment decision was published, I came out and said, this is a brief written for the appellate courts, that it was written directly to the Second Circuit and the U.S. Supreme Court. It's already an appeal ready. And if you look, Brad Garlinghouse even said that Ripple was operating as though they had already lost. I don't know if you remember when he said that. And he said, listen, it's not going to get any worse for us than it is now. And basically, if you look at who they hired Michael Kellogg. Okay, Michael Kellogg is the preeminent appellate attorney in the United States of America. Neil Gorsuch, who is on the Supreme Court, used to work for Mike Kellogg, okay, as a partner there. And he used to be a solicitor general. He used to be chief Rehnquist's clerk. And so this brief is written for the appellate courts. And I've come out and said that if Ripple goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to win. Now, that's pretty confident for me to say. I said 100%, I'm sure. And there are not many things you're sure in 100%, because this Supreme Court, it overturned Roe versus Wade. No matter what your position is on it, it was 50-year precedent. They're conservative justices. And if you look at the EPA West Virginia case that Professor J.W. and I talked about recently, that's the case where they slapped down the EPA for extending its jurisdiction without congressional authorization. Does that sound familiar? A federal agency. And if you look at Michael Kellogg and his firm, he's a specialist in regulatory and appellate issues. And so if the SEC were to get an outright win, which I don't think will happen, but if they did, this is going on appeal for sure. Ripple will just continue to do business as they have been, and then we're going to wait and watch for a victory in the appellate court. The best chances for the SEC is right now with Judge Torres at the federal district court for everything I just told you about why Ripple would appeal.
In a nutshell, Ripple wins a case, the SEC threatens to appeal, and then the SEC uses the appeal to secure a settlement with Ripple Labs. The SEC ends up looking like a winner, while Ripple ends up getting the clarity it needs to finally open up its on-demand liquidity solutions in the U.S. corridor, the last piece of the puzzle for Ripple's total global coverage.
If Ripple wins, is Gary Gensler going to be at the SEC several years from now, 5 years from now, if it goes to the Supreme Court? Of course not. So if you know that you're really, really likely going to lose on appeal, but can get a political win right now, what do you think Gary Gensler is going to do? And what I mean by a political win is the best thing the SEC would have if they lose is the threat of appeal. And so do I think they will threat to appeal it? Sure. And what would happen? They would use the threat of an appeal to try to negotiate a settlement post Judge Torres's decision, where they get to say, okay, Ripple will waive our appeal. We'll agree that Judge Torres's decision, that secondary market sales are not securities, and that your ongoing and future sales are not securities, if you agree to pay $25 million, pick a number, right? And Ripple may very well entertain that. And then Gary Gensler could say, yes, we got a victory. We got millions and millions of dollars. But more importantly, he gets to go after his other targets in present day. That's the issue. And so Ellie Tarrant said that they are even beefing up the crypto enforcement at the SEC now, today, even though a year ago they doubled the SEC crypto enforcement. And so why would you appeal it, take the risk of a loss, when you could get that political win?
What a great question posed by John. Why would the SEC be doubling its labor force, specifically in its crypto assets and cyber unit, unless they already know Ripple's going to win?
I'll take it one step further because of that Coinbase interview that Tony did of Thinking Crypto channel. Think about this. If Ripple wins and Judge Torres says, SEC, you couldn't prove XRP was sold as a security by the actual company that owns 50% of the tokens, do you think that's going to give Coinbase and Kraken confidence? If you can't prove it against Ripple, then you sure as hell can't prove it's a security when Coinbase or Kraken or Uphold sells it. So despite, I know that the chief legal officer of Coinbase said, and he's got to say that it's a publicly traded company. He's going to say we have to be careful. We got to do this. We got to do that. But just think about common sense. If you lose against Ripple, if you can't prove Ripple violated the law, you sure as hell not proving Coinbase or anyone else did. So I think it would be great news for retail as well.
John doesn't stop there. He brought up Hinman's emails too, something that the SEC has been unwilling to provide.
I have to tell you, I've already said it publicly. Eventually those emails are coming out, and eventually those drafts, because of all the other litigation. Dragon Chain was sued. They're an ERC20 token that's governed by the Ethereum blockchain. Do you think their attorneys aren't going to say, we need Hinman's deposition, we need Hinman's emails, we need the drafts? And then if they are going to go after exchanges like I predicted, you don't think that those exchanges who list Ethereum ERC20 tokens are going to ask for the same documents? It's arguably more relevant with an ERC20 token governed by Ethereum blockchain than it is Ripple, right? Mm-hmm. Because if Bill Hinman said that Ethereum was sufficiently decentralized and an ERC20 token is governed by that sufficiently decentralized exchange, why wouldn't they have rights to see those documents? And since there's already been a decision by a judge that says deliberative process privilege doesn't apply, attorney-client privilege doesn't apply, I can see many other judges saying, yeah, turn that over to them too. And the more people that get it, the more chances it's coming out one way or the other. And then, of course, you have Dr. Rosalind Layton, who has intervened and is seeking the unsealing of those emails as well. And so I think eventually they're coming out. But yeah, sure, Ripple could agree to drop it if there's a settlement.
What an exciting journey it's been for Ripple Labs, the XRP community, and Link2's global community of investors.
No community in crypto, none more deserving of a celebration of good news than the XRP community. That is not even debatable.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.